Last week, I came out here and I didn't just have a match with Samoa Joe. I would say I went to war with Samoa Joe. But you know what? It's normally a pretty humbling thing to come out and admit to the world that you came up short, but the truth is, I'm not the least bit embarrassed about that because we went toe-to-toe for nearly an hour. The only thing that's nagging at me the tiniest little bit is the fact that Takeover Dallas is going to be huge. Okay? It's WrestleMania weekend, and you know NXT is going to steal the show. And on the biggest stage of the year,
Sami, I was listening backstage and I have to agree with you. You do definitely deserve something very, very special at NXT TakeOver Dallas. Your opponent will be NXT's newest signee, this man.
NXT, Sami Zayn, our Steve and Dallas, and Shinsuke Nakamura takes over.
Phillips, do you know who that was? Shinsuke Nakamura, the king of strong style.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back to Place to Be Nation's Pedestal, where we decide if matches are worthy of being placed on the pedestal. I'm going to be your host on this one, Jambalaya Jake. I'm joined by two of my good pals, Mr. Scott Shiflett and Matt Souza. Scott, what's going on?
Hey Jake, I'm glad to be here tonight to talk about a match that I think is going to be very decisive.
Yeah, we'll see. Matt Souza, how are you?
Jake, doing well. Always great to talk with you. I concur with the Schiffmeister over there. This is going to be it's quite an interesting match to talk about. So we'll see if it lands on the prestigious pedestal or not.
Right. So giving this as we tend to toast these in twos, these are my two picks. The first one was a pretty easy, like I kind of knew at least personally, would put it on the pedestal kind of going in. I would have been shocked if I didn't. But this was one I chose that's kind of the other way, in that I never thought it was a bad match, but it is one that I know personally I've never understood the hype around it. Like for a lot of people, this is huge. This is like a 5-star classic in a big moment, et cetera, et cetera. And I guess it never clicked with me that way, but I'm interested in going through it again and talking it through and watching it and seeing if maybe my opinion will be swayed. But as we do on these, typically, we'll start with the build, and I think if we start with the build, it's a good way where we can all kind of give our own sort of personal histories at the time, whether we were watching, what it was like in the moment, that sort of thing. And I'll start with Scott, because Scott, this match is near and dear to you because you actually saw it live, correct?
Yeah, I did, and it's actually a crazy story. Mania 32 was the first WrestleMania I got to go to. Some say it's still going on, but so that whole weekend will hold a special place in my heart because it's the first, I went to the PTBN tailgate and everything, but with NXT, this takeover, I didn't know what I was doing with the tickets, so I bought tickets for me and my brother through like that WrestleMania package that they have set up with like your hotel room and all that stuff. We get to the arena for NXT after being in Access, and my seat is just taped off because they were going to be recording like up top, but my little brother's wasn't. So I was like, no. He's like, oh, we'll just sit, not together. I was like, screw that. We went down there. I was like, yeah, both of our tickets are taped off. We got 6 rows back on the hard camera side. I mean, not the hard camera side, the other side. But we were 6 rows back. And when they showed Stephanie McMahon earlier and Linda, when they show her in the event, they walked right past us. So like all that will hold. Like I could still replay most of the card. That's when this is a show where American Alpha won the tag titles. We had Finn coming out as basically the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and this was this match we're about to talk about, Zayn versus Nakamura, was the best match I think I've ever seen live. So it's going to be slightly inflated because of me, but we'll see what happens with everyone else.
No need to give disclaimers, Schiff. No, you don't have to give disclaimers. You don't have to justify. You don't have to feel bad for your feelings on this. So to continue with you on the build, Schiff. So I'm assuming you were watching pretty closely at the time if you went to the show, most likely.
Sorta, not really.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching, but I was like reading the results if I couldn't watch it. So I know that Nakamura had been signed, like, because that was when him, AJ Styles, and the Good Brothers gave their notice at the Wrestle Kingdom show earlier that year, and like everyone was just like, AJ debuted at the Rumble, and then the Good Brothers would do it later that year. But Nakamura, they didn't know if they were going to send him to the main roster already or to NXT. So when they finally announced that it was going to be Nakamura versus Zayn, I was like, oh, that should be an awesome match because this is the height of Sami Zayn's powers. He can do no wrong in a lot of people's eyes, including my own.
It's a real interesting time for NXT here because if memory serves me, this is not the first big takeover. Like they had Brooklyn already, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brooklyn
So
was the previous August.
Yeah, so it wasn't like the first big takeover, but it was just getting to where the takeovers were becoming a premium live event as opposed to just like little specials on the network from Full Sail. We're kind of in this transition where I don't think NXT was reaching its peak kind of as we know it. I think it's still reaching the peak, but it's definitely on the upswing. And like you said, Scott, it's the Sami Zayn initial NXT run, like what we're covering on PTB NXT, up into this, which is going to be his last match in NXT, is kind of like his progression through NXT is kind of coincides with their rise. But you kind of said it, Scott. There's really not a whole lot of build to this on TV. I don't think it's basically like because it is Nakamura's debut. It's not like they can do a whole lot on TV to build with him. It's just like Nakamura's coming and he's going to be facing Sami Zayn. So what did you so I'll swap to Matt, I guess, so I'll come back for your score shift. But so Matt, what did you think of the build to this at the time?
So it's interesting because like Nakamura is a pretty well-known guy. So like it's a match that I don't know, didn't necessarily need a huge build just because of Nakamura's stature in New Japan and all that stuff. And so, I mean, obviously it would have been nice had there been some semblance of a build, but it's literally what you just said, Jake. It's literally the build actually is more revolving around like Sami Zayn's quest to get back the NXT title, if I remember correctly. Like I think he has a 2 out of 3 falls match with Samoa Joe at one point on NXT, and I think that's his last title shot. And then it's literally like a couple weeks later, William Regal comes out and basically says, hey, Shinsuke Nakamura is debuting in Dallas. You're going to wrestle him. So like that's quite literally the build. So, I mean, it's tough to grade because like it depends on what you weight, right? Is no build better than a bad build? Like that's kind of what I've been going over in my head. So, I mean, I guess I'll go Gentleman's 2 on it, but I'm not comfortable with it, and I'm leaving myself the option to change it later. But for now, I will go Gentleman's 2 because I want to hear what you guys think.
Right, makes sense. Scott, would you like to say? No, I agree. I think especially for this one, it's gonna. I feel like in this for the purposes of the Pedestal pod, this will be an interesting one to sort of hash out what really constitutes a build, because it depends like how broad are we with build, or how much do we mean build as in storyline, because those two things can kind of be different. So Scott, I'll let you give your thoughts on this.
I mean, like Souza was saying, like William Regal comes out and is like, I can't remember if they announced that Sami was leaving. It's like, oh, he's leaving NXT, which everyone thought was such a great thing because like we're seeing our boy graduate. Little did we know, even though I think they've done pretty well with Sami. Everyone was sad to see him leave, but it's like, here's your graduation present, and it's Nakamura. And I remember like freaking out because I was like, holy shit, I get to go to this and see this, because I'd seen like some YouTube clips of Nakamura, and I thought he was like the coolest motherfucker around. And he really was at that time. So like, but it's like no build besides like the vignette when William Regal does it. But like Souza said, like, and then I think of the bad builds that we got, like after the Mania match between Styles and Nakamura, how they were just doing nut shots, and I would give that like -3 stars if I was going to be doing that. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go a little bit higher than Souza. I'm going to go 3 for the build, just because I think it's a little bit higher than average. Just off the hype alone. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, and I think I may actually go a tick higher than that, even because I'm trying to think of it. Because when Tim's been on, I know he kind of gave his rationale of like not wanting the build to really like submarine a match and be more of like the tiebreaker sort of thing. So I don't want to go too low on it, because I'd hate for it to, because the build is not bad. Like, to me, if you were going like with a really low score, I feel like it's because the build actively hurt it. And this one, I definitely don't think it does. And I would give some points for, like you said, Scott, the hype, in that it is, whether, I don't remember if they officially said it, but everybody kind of knew it was going to be his last match, whether they said it on TV or not. They knew it was going to be Zayn's last match. And the hype of Nakamura debuting, he was big. Especially given, I feel like the bloom has kind of been off the rose a bit for Nakamura in WWE after his run is kind of considered lackluster, at least from like a match quality perspective. But I haven't watched a ton of his stuff before, but I know the reputation is that he was putting on like classics and was, in New Japan and that sort of thing. So I think the hype around him coming, and I think almost by him not being on TV, it kind of helps the build of this, because it builds the anticipation of seeing him debut and all that sort of stuff. So I'll give them points on that. Like, it's a weird comparison, but I think back to like when I was a kid. So when Vader showed up in WWF, I remember being a kid, and they all, he showed up at the Rumble in '96, and they showed just like vignettes of him like being Vader, and like there was really no storyline to it, but I was super hyped for the build because they made him look like such a big deal and such a monster and that sort of thing. So I do think, even though he wasn't on the shows, I wouldn't say it's a bad build. So I'm going to go 3.5, in that I think the hype factor that you sort of alluded to, Scott, I'm going to give it some bonus points for the hype. With the hype of it being Sami's last match, being on TakeOver, and Nakamura's debut, I think gives it a little bit of juice, even if there isn't much of a storyline there.
Yeah, no, that because you brought up a good point. It just adds to the aura of Nakamura, and like we had seen Sami, like with you guys going over PTB and NXT, like his rise to the title, and how great that's been, and like they always point back to his matches versus Cesaro as putting NXT on the map. So like Sami's known as putting on these hell of a great matches in NXT. So it's like this is going to be the topping on the cake.
I like that little pun you threw in there, Scott.
Yes, that was very good. That was
yes.
very good.
Right.
You know what, Jake?
Ahead,
Bump me up to 2.5. The hype, which I did not factor in, there was a ton of hype to this match for sure. Like if you watch Nakamura in New Japan like I did at the time, you were hyped for it. So yeah, bump me up to 2.5.
Right. So we'll have so right now it's not the greatest build score we've ever had, but it definitely doesn't put it out of contention as we go into the watch. So I think all of our scores are fair on that one. And yeah, I think the hype helps it. But anyway, we'll get to the main event here, which will be live watch of the match. We had quite a time finding this before we started recording the pod. So just to give you guys some instructions, if you're pulling up the old Peacock, you're going to want to go to your premium live events, go to Takeover, and this is going to be season 3, episode 1 of NXT Takeover.
Some say the best season.
Right. NXT Takeover Dallas. So
some of us didn't know what fucking show this was on.
Right. So I don't know if that's going to help its historical value, but the fact that maybe we didn't remember what show. But anyway, we are paused at 43:23, pretty early in this show. And we also remarked that this is only a 2-hour show. Good Lord. What a time to be alive. But so we will bring ourselves back to this wonderful time. And if you guys are ready, I will count us in.
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Sorry. That should be enough for the build right there. That song. The
you know what? 2 3/4. The song. 2
Right.
Yeah. So like, it's like they're a hype match screen, and we see the first thing is Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami, and like that was like the only thing we've seen of Shinsuke was like him like dancing and in his cool way, and you know how we get some of the hype right here, which is what we were talking about, and most of it's actually focused on Sami, you know, being the crowd favorite and everyone just loving him because, you know, I remember being so hyped when he debuted in, I want to say Montreal against Cena in the Open Challenge, and like separated his shoulder doing like his shoulder thing, and then KO took his spot because Sami was supposed to be him debuting on the main roster, and then he was gone for 6 months.
Right.
So correct me if I'm wrong.
Mr. NXT before, you know, your Garganos and your Ciampas and your Adam Coles and stuff. He's kind of like the OG Mr. NXT.
So Sami wrestled at Mania a couple nights later, right? Wasn't he in that ladder match?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
I think he was in this. I think he was in the Rumble this year too.
Yeah.
I don't think he was in that ladder match. I'm double checking right now.
Oh, I see. I thought he was.
Where is Nakamura in this? See, now we're getting some stuff. I don't remember this super well, but I kind of like this. Okay, I do pop anytime they actually show something from any other wrestling organization.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
holy shit.
Yeah, you are right, Sousa. That was a nice catch. It was Zack Ryder defeated Kevin Owens, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Zayn, Sin Cara, and Stardust.
Soused again, Shiflet. Soused again.
But like, look, like they're showing all the you know, like the Twitter page and the WWE where like Shinsuke Nakamura is coming in, and it feels like a great thing. And you know, we see Sami talking about it, and like you said, Jake, it feels pretty cool when you see like other promotion stuff in WWE, because this wasn't done a lot at this time. I mean, it's pretty common now because they have more libraries, but like you're seeing that and you're like, holy shit. First off, that ring is small, but
yes.
Yes.
But it's still awesome. And he has like the cool, and Shinsuke looks like the cool, like I said, the coolest motherfucker here with his pose that he hit at the, you know, NXT Performance Center, and it's just awesome.
Remember when Nakamura was good?
Right.
Look at these two. My goodness.
Somehow Scott Hall is still alive. They're showing Scott Hall and X-Pac. See, that's one thing I liked about the old takeovers. Like they would either have like new signings in the crowd or like old legends. It added like some gravitas to the show. It made it feel like it was must see.
Yeah. It is interesting too. It's in the early stage of Takeover. It is in Dallas, like with Mania, but they're not running like the main arena. They're running wherever the hell this is, the Manhattan Center version,
Convention
in
Hall.
Dallas.
No, Sousa is right, because they literally walked out of Access and it was in the same building as as where Access was, and I think they still had like a decent amount of people there, because like we were like, you could see like the columns, like we were in one of those like columns originally up high like that. I'm pretty sure that's my shot of where I was sitting, where I was supposed to be sitting, and they did it, and I got to move down 6 rows back. It was awesome. But
this definitely looks like a place WCW would have run in like 1995
or 2000.
Right.
Could see the Thunder set being here.
Worldwide live from the Dallas Convention Hall.
And I just remember this crowd being so hot for everything that night. I mean, it's a typical NXT crowd, but I remember when Asuka beat Bailey, like everyone was just shocked. They were like, "Is that the ending?" And it was like, that was the start of the Asuka reign.
Yeah, I feel, and we'll get more into this later. I feel like this is like a forgotten great takeover because this show was fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, you did have a crappy match with Aries and Baron Corbin, but that was before this match.
Because Baron Corbin was in it.
Yeah.
Question asked, question answered.
These are those average takeovers where it wasn't literally every match was 4+ stars.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
You had to sit through one only decent match as opposed to constant amazing matches.
Right.
But look at his entrance coming out. Like, he felt like a star.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. Immediately.
Oh, man. This song and this entrance are so good. And it was so over.
Oh, yeah.
Just it may have been the reason why when he got to the main roster, he was kind of like, you know what, I got this cool entrance. Maybe I don't really need to go quite as hard in the ring anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I nearly killed myself in New Japan.
I was going to say
10 years. So
watch some of his New Japan stuff. He took a fucking shit kicking in some of those matches. So I don't blame him for coasting. He's making his money now and he's coasting. God bless. That's the fucking American dream.
But it's like one of the best theme songs and one thing that we learned is that, I remember Sammy talking about this, that him and Nakamura didn't discuss the match at all. Like, I'm pretty sure this is called All in the Ring.
Mm.
Yeah, he's got such a cool presentation with the leather and the mouthpiece and the hair and the Michael Jackson moves and shit. Like, it's just...
I gotta remember thinking, this guy can be in the main roster right now and just be a main eventer. And sadly, it didn't happen. But I was just like, this is the future of WWE right here. These two.
Right. You're ready for Sammy to leave NXT and be going for the title at SummerSlam.
Yeah, going against Cena and everything. And
yeah, I mean, just oozing charisma. Yeah, he had a presence that few guys had at this point.
Did he just yawn?
Yeah.
He does so many strange movements with his mouth. I like this old man with the mustache is so tickled by Nakamura.
Yeah, his son brought it here.
Yeah.
This ain't my Chief J Strongbow I'm used to.
It really is funny, if this would be your first exposure to Japanese wrestlers or something. Do they all do Michael Jackson moves and wear leather and
Well, it's funny because I told you, my little brother came with me. Well, I pretty much sort of bullied him into going. So I was like, hey, I don't know anyone to go with Mania. It's before I really met you guys, and I was like, I need you to go to Mania with me. And he's like, okay, I guess I will. And I was like, did you watch any of the wrestling before? Nope, I know none of these people. So this was his first thing, but he got into it. He loved it. He bought a bunch of shirts. So I don't think he's still a fan, but he loved it this weekend.
He was like, this Nakamura guy is going to be my favorite. I'm going to follow the rest of his WWE run.
No, he actually, because he liked wrestling when he was little, and he kept asking where Rey Mysterio was, and I was like, I think he just killed a guy. It's fine.
Going for that big match beginning where they kind of, I won't say stall, but they kind of milk the crowd a little bit before they lock up.
I mean, the crowd was doing yes chants at the start before they locked up.
As they warm up, since we have Sami Zayn, would you guys like to give me your you guys have a favorite ska band? Sami Zayn.
Boy, you're gonna throw that question at me. Gonna throw that fucking question at me unprepared. God damn.
Right.
Pour one out for the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, who, as of this recording, announced they are breaking up today. Speaking of ska.
Oh no.
Yeah. Very sad day in the ska-niverse.
They're that's a Boston band, right?
Yeah.
Boston area kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any ska bands. Whatever one.
Oh, dear, Schiff.
Whichever one made Sami Zayn's music.
Schiff learned ska coming soon.
I think that would have been CFOs, famous ska band CFOs.
Yeah, CFO. That's ska band.
Look, I feel as someone who enjoys the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games, I feel I have to mention Goldfinger for Superman.
Yeah, great.
Always
like the Streetlight Manifesto, great ska band. Yeah.
Real Big Fish.
Right.
Have to mention them.
We'll sing you a playlist, Scott.
Yeah, okay, that's great. You could just be saying random words, and I was like, yeah, that sounds like a band name. But,
Now, we'll say, and I think Sammy gets shit for this, but maybe, the 20 teens, not the peak of ska as far as popularity.
No. Although
kind of part of his charm, though.
There's one newish ska band that I like. They're called The Interrupters, I think they're called. They're pretty good.
Seventh wave ska.
Yeah, basically. They did a cover of Billie Eilish's Bad Girl that is quite good.
Pretty sick sequence we just got through with them kind of.
Mm-hmm. While we're talking about Goldfinger and
right.
fucking...
Hey, Sammy would like it, okay?
He would, it's true. That was an honor of him.
I mean, I like Sammy, but he probably smells like, I don't know, stale cigarettes and just cat piss.
So he smells like a ska. So he smells like a ska punk. Got it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the impression that you get, huh, Chef?
Yes. Ooh. Some solid kicks from Nakamura.
Strong style, baby.
Ooh.
Lay it in the knees. Got that great black NXT mat.
To cover up the staff.
No, there was no staff at this point. God, he even wrestles differently here compared to now. Like, he doesn't do any of this shit anymore.
And there's not much going on. They're just like feeling each other out still. I mean, Nakamura has an armbar on, but the crowd does not look bored at all. They're still like locked in.
Yeah, they kind of work at a slower pace, but everything they're doing looks good. And they kind of, I feel like they know the crowd's in the palm of their hand from the beginning. Like the crowd was super into it, so they're just kind of.
They could read from the fucking dictionary, and the crowd would be into it.
Oh, that's a nice enziguri. God,
is that old man still smiling?
Yeah, everything Nak has done so far has looked great.
Yeah,
like the knee strikes, the enziguri. That's all look.
Oh, then you just hit him with another one. Jeez.
God. Oh, he was so fucking good. But I mean, that's like we were mentioning earlier. You can't blame him for toning the style down, because that style is just fucking brutal. Between this and the stuff in New Japan, it's like there's only so many bumps like that your body can take. Like he was in some wars in New Japan.
And he was brought up as a young boy, right? So God only knows what else they did to him.
And like his gimmick before this too, he was like basically like MMA shooter type guy. So he was every match he was getting kicked, he was getting slapped, punched. Like that'll do a job on you. So
well, especially when you're going to WWE, where not only is it maybe not the preferred style, but they may like actively dislike it. So why would he what does he have to gain by going out there and doing a style that's not really what they want to do? Like in Japan, at least he's like, well, I'm doing this because this is like this is
gotta give them what they want.
Right.
This to me, this match to me has always felt like putting a bow on Nakamura's like New Japan style.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's kind of like after this match is when he slowly starts shifting into the WWE style, like right after this match.
He's like, wait, I can just have a really sick entrance and I don't have to like actually get hit in the face. Like,
I don't have to actually destroy my body for these fucking hooligans in the crowd.
Sammy had a nice drop kick right there, and now he's just laying in the forearms.
Oh.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, this has been real tight.
Ooh, God. But yeah, I really thought they were going to do like big things with Nakamura. Like they had him win the Rumble, and like everyone was looking forward to him versus AJ Styles. And then like like I said, that shitty, like I think the match was like too overhyped, like people were expecting, because
Yeah.
all I heard about was like how great their match at Wrestle Kingdom was, and then
Yeah.
and then like it ended with Nakamura kicking AJ in the nuts for a shitty DQ, and then that like feud just like went on and on.
Right.
So
that Wrestle Kingdom match is incredible. Like it really is. And then they just had that WWE match. That's what they have 4 matches on pay-per-view, something like that. And they were all just varying degrees of disappointing.
like look at Nakamura's chest. Like he has a welt already on his chest at Sammy's handprint.
Right. Ooh, I just thought of another ska band I like. Voodoo Glow Skulls. Look them up.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
I think you're just making up names now, just to screw.
No, Jake backed me up. Jake backed me up.
Right. Oh wait, sorry. I was thinking of. At first, I was like, didn't they weren't they the house band on some late night show? But I think I'm thinking of Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Was actually
yes, that's exactly. That's not ska.
Yeah, they were like the house band on like the Carson Daly Carson Daly
late show.
It's like at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Craig Kilborn or whatever.
Right. Sponsored by DiGiorno. Hot take. DiGiorno kind of sucks as a frozen pizza.
Yes, they do. They absolutely do.
Too much crust. Too much crust.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a Red Baron any day.
Oh, 100%. Well, DiGiorno always runs into that problem, too, where all the fucking toppings slip off the pizza. You got to eat it with a fork and a knife like an asshole.
Yep.
Yeah, it's... Yeah.
Ooh.
DiGiorno not going to make the pedestal frozen pizza.
More like DiGior blow.
Oh. DiGiorno, as in no. I don't want to eat it.
I see.
Sammy's about
to God. Off. Jesus.
Oh, he totally missed him.
He sure did.
But Sammy's right back up and on the offensive, even though he almost killed himself.
The good thing about that Sami Zayn time, because I've seen it so many times doing the NXT pod, it's even when he doesn't connect with it flush on the guy, it has such insane velocity. Mm-hmm. He can kind of miss it and it still looks good just because. Yeah, he kind of just rolled down his. He looked like Sean hitting the casket and Rumble 98 just slid off of him.
Yeah.
And that was a nice cross body block that Sami hit too. He had a good extension on it. You don't see him break moves out like this anymore.
No, he's too busy cosplaying Che Guevara.
What you're noticing is that a lot of these wrestlers no one enjoys anymore.
Look, we did at the time. We just don't now.
Ooh, nice reversal from the suplex right there from Nakamura.
Oh, Jesus Christ, those knees.
Just laying those knees in. That's awesome.
Fuck.
Yeah, this match has been really tight, but also kind of sloppy in a good way. Where it looks like they're just nailing the piss out of each other.
Yep.
Ooh. I don't know. This one could.
That was a nice slam right there. Jesus.
Yeah, get that Michinoku driver.
Mm-hmm.
This one's, I don't know. I'm already enjoying this more than I remember liking it, so maybe this one might elevate for me. I'm digging it so far.
It's still holding up to me. I don't know if it just brings back those warm and fuzzies. So.
Yeah, I know you mentioned a lot of people had this at 5 stars. I was never 5 for this, but I was always pretty close every time I watched it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a dud. Yeah, I didn't think it was bad or anything, but I just never... Same, but I don't know. I'm digging it right now. We'll see how it. Nakamura's selling these forearms where he does this little matrix.
Yeah, like he's about to fall onto a fainting couch.
But it just adds something to him, because it's so different from anyone else that's doing it. So it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And having him debut at WrestleMania weekend was so smart. You got people from all over the world, all types of fans watching, fans who, probably don't watch only WWE, guys who know him from New Japan. It was such a smart move to have him debut here and not just hold off.
And as Souza was saying that, literally they are still, as I'm talking, forearming the shit out of each other. The crowd was chanting yes at one point, and now they're just looking on oh my God. I forgot about the nosebleed.
Yeah.
So,
Good stuff.
if I also remember correctly, I think this match is where the Fight Forever chant started. I think this was the first time.
Oh,
Yes, I know it's the first time I did it, and I think the only time.
I think this was the match that kind of started that chant.
like most wrestling chants, it would later go on to only be used very sparingly in specific situations,
Of
not
course.
overused at all.
What?
I love Sammy coming off the rope right there, and like it. God, it just pisses me off because it just means the company could have done so much more with both of these wrestlers.
Oh, his nose is fucked.
Yeah.
And I usually don't like get bitching about like booking and stuff, but like just seeing this again, it's like frustrating.
These refs, when they put on these surgical gloves when the guys are bleeding.
Yeah, it's a real stupid look. It's real stupid.
Oh, Nakamura just killed Sammy with a kick. Oh my
He's trying
God.
to. He's wiping the blood. What are you,
Yeah.
a cut man?
Yeah.
Stitch Duran in the fucking ring as a ref.
Get the Vaseline out.
Good lord.
Cleaned up Knox boogers real quick.
I've done
you
this
got a nice-
before.
Ooh, kick to the back of the head right there. Oh my God, what a fucking... That was a lariat. I'm not even going to say it's a clothesline. That was a lariat.
We're getting the Sammy Hulk up. I'm familiar with this one.
Mm.
The Ska Hulk up.
The Ska Hulk up. Shoot the moon. So here I am doing everything I can.
Oh, that was a sick sequence into the armbar.
Oh,
Oh, Matt, we've talked about this before. Always, you're getting like an extra at least half a star if you have guys like trying to fight out of a submission maneuver and not let the guy get into it. That's always
Yep.
always
think
gonna
I
get
can
me with
bully-
that. Love it.
I think I can bully you into making this 5 stars.
You might not have to. I'm digging it
Yeah,
right
Jake.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jake. Explain yourself, Jake.
Right.
God.
Got him in the triangle. And then
Sammy just
pulls up
stomping
just-
on his face. Jesus.
Oh, he
Christ.
really is. Jesus. And you could see, like, you know, Susie, you brought this up, like, you see shirts that say King of Strong Style on it. So, like, these are well-traveled fans, like, obviously wrestling nerds like the rest of us.
Right.
You know.
Except for your brother. Your brother's like
Yeah.
a fucking strong style.
Oh, Sammy is just going to town kicking him.
Oh,
And I do feel like part of what they put to this match too is like Sammy's they kind of put this like he's defending his home turf kind of deal or something like that. Like he's, you know, not like they're making Nakamura like a big heel, but he is like a guy coming from somewhere else. And NXT is like Sammy's. Good lord, this is a submission and a half right here. Good God.
It's a very like passing of the torch type of match.
Right.
Yeah, because, you know, Jake brought up a great point earlier where he was like, Sammy was Mr. NXT before Gargano. And
Yeah.
that is very true because, you know, he carried those. Like, with that story of him, like, finally winning the title. Like,
Yep.
I remember I had to watch that NXT takeover to see what happened. And then that son of a bitch, Kevin Owens, power bombs him afterwards. And, you know,
Yeah, this
it's
kind
just
of
crazy.
becomes the I don't know if I have to like get the timeline straight, but is this the first like instance of an NXT guy like going out with a big match and sort of elevating somebody else on the way out? That would kind of become sort of their thing, as guys would kind of have a run and then they go to the main roster and sort of put somebody else over who's going to be the next, you know, maybe NXT star. I don't know if
I mean, do you consider Neville? I mean, they
Right.
sort of did that with him.
all right.
That was the one I was thinking of.
Like, 'cause that's like the only one before. Like, KO was
Yeah.
still NXT champ when he was appearing on Raw.
Right.
So,
But I think this is probably bigger than Neville, I would think.
oh,
Right.
definitely.
Between the guy beating him and the guy, you know.
Right. If for
And
no other
goes
reason
into
that
it.
NXT was just like bigger by this point.
Right,
It was like a
exactly.
bigger deal.
Ooh.
Oh, missed the
Another
haluva
thing I can
kick.
tell you, yeah, I can tell you from doing the NXT pod too that the haluva kick has almost like a lion salt percentage of it's
Yeah.
about 50-50 the times he hits it and the times he just fucking hyperextends his leg.
And let me tell you, sometimes even when he hits it, he misses it.
Oh, he missed the Shinkai. Yeah, hit the blue thunder bomb. Oh, just amazing. Amazing sequence right there.
The Kishasha.
Yes, I couldn't say that word. I think this is where the Fight Forever chant actually starts.
Yeah. Yeah, crowd is just fucking electric right now.
So this was Friday night, Hall of Fame was Saturday, and Mania was Sunday.
That's
I will
right.
say-
They did this on the Friday. Good lord.
I will say, like, this Friday, I straight up looked over at my little brother and I was like, Justin, we're not going to watch anything as good as the matches we saw this weekend. Holy shit, was I right?
Yeah. You said it at the beginning. Some say Mania 32 is still fucking going on. God, that show.
This move here.
Is that on the- Oh!
Oh my god.
That
Mania
is awesome.
32 on the pedestal.
I will say I did
Roman Reigns, Triple H. Let's do it.
Yeah.
that women's three-way was really good. I did
Yeah.
enjoy that. And the ladder match was pretty good. Jericho and Styles, like, it felt like they couldn't get out of second gear.
Yeah.
Lesnar and Ambrose. Lesnar didn't give a shit. Neither did really Ambrose, which is like, you could tell when Ambrose doesn't care as well. Especially that Ziggler title match at SummerSlam a couple years later.
Oh god, yeah.
Like the Rock thing took forever.
And it was also 2 a.m. at that point.
Yeah, and we also knew, like, the Shane Undertaker match that Shane was coming off the cell, so that was cool to see live, but it took forever to get there. But
That 6-hour-long match.
Yeah.
Oh.
ooh, solid headbutt right there. Then he kicks
God.
him off.
Yeah, this has been a war.
Yeah.
That Sammy move where he dives between the turnbuckles is
It's ridiculous.
absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably had to stop doing that because he's like, I'm gonna kill myself by headbutting the side of the. Oh my god, those elbows are just
Fuck.
fucking killer.
Ooh.
Oh, to the back of the head.
Beat
And
to the
Sam-
Vade.
And Sammy does a great job of selling to make it look like he's near death. Like, he is just amazing at that.
Yep. Oh.
Oh,
1,
That'll do
2,
it.
3.
Took his head off. Nice little fire by knock at the end.
Mhm.
yes.
All right.
This
I
was
gotta
a
say-
war.
That was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Whew.
I feel like I need a cigarette after that.
Mm.
All right, so as we kind of see the aftermath, Scott, I'll let you go first because I feel like you're probably the most confident in your rating. Did this is it sticking? Is it staying the same? Mhm.
Yeah, it stuck the landing. I'm going 5 again. Like, this match was amazing. These guys beat the shit out of each other, and it was. You can tell it looks like these guys went to war. I mean, Knox's nose got busted. He still has, like, handprint on him where Sammy slapped him. Sammy looks beat to shit. Like, you know, you can see the marks on his body.
Mhm.
It's just a hell of a match.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be there this time. I don't know. It just clicked for me more this time around. I want to say I feel like this had more kind of too many kickouts and stuff, but on this viewing, it was just like, it was killer. And I felt like every big spot that they went to, like, really felt meaningful. Like him diving through the ropes, just the shots were just stiff. It really looked like they were beating the piss out of each other. The forearm exchange was better than I remember it being. You know what? I think I'm going to go 5. Why not? I don't know. I'm struggling to find anything I didn't like about this match.
And as much as I love, like, Johnny Gargano's era of NXT, it wasn't finisher spam. Like, he never hit the haluva kick. Like he said, it's only a 50% shot, but he never hit it. He did hit the blue thunder bomb, but that's always been a setup move. And there was only one Kinshasa that took him down because Sammy dodged the other one. So
yeah, they both look great too in this one. Like, I think, like we've said throughout the whole thing, you come out of this match thinking Nakamura is going to be a big fucking deal. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I think I will also go 5 on it. I don't remember this match being as good as it was.
Right,
I still enjoy. Like I said before, I enjoyed it before last time, but I was never 5 on it. But yeah, and like you said, and that was my fear with this because I didn't really remember it. I haven't seen this match in years. There were very little finishers in this, which is a big knock I've had with some of the more recent NXT stuff. And this felt like a match, and it didn't get into like fucking absurd territory like some of those Cole Gargano matches that people love. But yeah, it's awesome. It's a 5-star match. A changing of the guard in NXT type of match, a passing of the torch type of deal. If only this Nakamura stuck around and we got more of this shit. But unfortunately, that would not happen. But as is on this night, 5 stars, putting a bow on the end of a New Japan Nakamura.
Right. All right. So we get the full Monty on the 5s here. Yeah. And the last thing I'll say is, as they just did, so they end with kind of this show of respect. I think they did a good job of that too, kind of going the face route a little bit, but without it feeling exhibition-y, obviously, at all, because they beat the shit out of each other. Like, it really felt like a stiff war, which I think is more difficult to do when you don't have a clear heel face. And you get the emotion here with Sammy kind of doing his farewell, which is a cool moment.
Right.
All right, so now we will get into as we wrap this up and kind of see and make the determination, the historical value of this one. So this is difficult. It depends. I feel like of all the categories since we started the pod, this is maybe the trickiest, I feel like, to really judge because, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I think you have the Nakamura debuting, but like we said, is that hurt by his run in WWE not being maybe up to what people expected coming out of New Japan? Same thing for Sammy maybe in his WWE run, but it is Sammy's last match. He kind of helped lay the foundation for NXT being as big as it is now, leading into NXT 2.0. So we have that. I do think it being an early takeover is sort of a big deal in kind of establishing the takeovers as like these big events. I don't know. If you guys want me to go I think I'm going to go similar to what I went on the build, and I'm going to go 3.5 because I don't think it has this like insane great historical value, but I think there is some stuff there with it being an early takeover and Sammy and Nakamura's debut. I think that gives it something. I don't know. Matt, what do you think of the historical value of this match?
Yeah, like you said, it's a super tough category to talk about. It's Nakamura's debut, which was pretty big, but it was also his best match, and he would never really touch and come anywhere close to that in the 6 years since this. So how do you weight that? We all just went 5 stars on this. But I also think there's matches in the future in NXT that would be better than this one. And that's the thing too. Like, it's weird because we all just went 5 stars on it, but I also feel like it's kind of a forgotten match. Like, it was pretty well known at the time, but and we mentioned it earlier, NXT was having cards full of fucking 4-star plus matches. So, I mean, it feels like that match kind of, it gets buried under some of like the Cole Gargano stuff, or like, the War Games, or the some of the Revival tag matches. So I think, much like you, I think it's pretty similar of a grade for me, like the build. So I guess I'll go, I'll go a little bit higher because I think it is a 5-star match, and I think I have to give it a bit of a bump for that. And I think I think anytime you got a 5-star match, I feel like it's remembered more than just like a run-of-the-mill type of thing. So I'll go 3 stars for the historical context for this.
Schiff?
Yeah, I've been thinking, because like this match has definitely been lost to like the annals of time of I think how important it was, because like it was, you know, basically one chapter of NXT closing, like we've all said, and it's it's a great chapter because it leads to like the greatness that we would get for NXT for a couple of years until, you know, the Wednesday night wars, quote unquote. But with it, you know, being lost to time, I think that dings it a little bit. But, you know, I'm still going to go higher than you, Susan. I'm going to go 3.5. I just think, like, you know, when people are, you know, quote unquote, writing the book on NXT, they'll come across this match and be like, how does no one remember this match? So that's where I'm going with that.
Right. It does seem like one of the earliest. I think it maybe gets a little credit for being one of the earliest sort of, you know, classic NXT matches that really made these takeovers become a big deal. And for, I think, a lot of wrestling fans become kind of must-watch shows. I do think, I was pondering this too. I think similar to the WCW thing, maybe it being NXT does maybe hinder it a bit, like maybe makes its ceiling historically a little lower, because unless, you know, one of the guys went on to do, you know, huge things, it's hard to really, because NXT is so like, it's sort of like made for wrestling fans, and, you know, maybe that makes it harder to transcend. But I think it's fair, because it's not like 3.5 is this amazing rating. It's like, to be a little bit above solid. And I think that's fair for this. Like, I think if we start, for me, for the purpose of this, if I'm going like under 3 or under 2.5, to me, I feel like it has like negative historical value, which I don't think this one does. So, all right. So I guess I need to, I guess I should.
Got to do the Shaunalytics.
The Shaunalytics. So what I will do is let you guys tell us about what you have going on while I go into the in computerized man mode and crunch these numbers up real quick. So Matt, would you like to tell us what you have going on?
Sure. You can find me over on the north-south feed on the Extreme 3-Way Dance. I believe by the time you're hearing this, the episode where we cover The Doctor Is In, featuring the famous or infamous, depending on your point of view, RVD Sabu stretcher match. That should be out by the time you're hearing this, I think, so definitely give that a listen. Of course, we are all on YouTube Roulette, and now we are all on Highway to the Impact Zone, too, which I'll let Schiff talk about, but I got all that going on. You can also find me on Popcorn Chicken Salad. The most recent episode of that, we watched Cocktail, and boy, that is a movie. But I will say a big market tease. The next 2 episodes of Popcorn Chicken Salad should be quite interesting, to say the least. So looking forward to recording those in the very near future. And you can find me on the Twitter machine at msouza1991.
Yeah, those are all great listens. If you haven't listened, check those out. Especially the Extreme 3-Way Dance. I really enjoy that as someone who never watched ECW growing up, just read about it. You can find me on Twitter at Scott_Shiflet. Right now we're doing Pop Goes to the Couch. That's with myself, Tim Capel, Sean Kidd, and Andy Atherton. We're pulling double duty right now with Boba Fett and Peacemaker, which we all love Peacemaker, and only one person likes Boba Fett. I'm doing Crock and Roll right now. We're in March of 1986, and that's with Dr. G, Sean Kidd, and Callum McDougall. That's always a fun episode. And just make sure to check out everything on the Quadapods here. You know, the Pop Experience podcast, the Wrestling Feed here, the Jenny Position, and the No. So everyone's just doing great work. And Jake, do you got those Shaunalytics up? Do we have a pedestal?
I do. So I think going into this one, I'll draw this out a little bit. We kind of thought this one would probably not make it because of its, maybe it was lacking in historical value. Some of us didn't think you would like the match as much as others. It ended up getting the the 3.7 repeating. So a 3.777 into infinity. So it is going to be just on the outside looking in on the pedestal, because we averaged out to, so on the build, we averaged out to about a 3, because we had a 2.5, a 3.5, and a 3. So that came out to, correct me if my math is wrong, but I believe that was a 3.
You're barking up the wrong tree if you need math connections. Let me tell corrections. Christ.
But yeah, so the match we went 5 on, and then 3.5, 3, and 3.5 for the build. It was about, I think, a half star away in our ratings from being able to crack the pedestal. But I do think it overperformed. I think that was closer than maybe we would have thought going in. I think us giving it the full 5-star treatment was maybe unexpected. So it was definitely interesting for me. I couldn't believe how much I liked that match. I remember not liking it much, but yeah. So unfortunately, it will not be on the pedestal, but still a great match. Does it seem a little wrong that we went all 5 stars and it's not on the pedestal? Does it make you feel a little icky?
It makes me feel sad that, like, we knew the build wasn't going to be the greatest, but it's sad with the historical significance that this is really a forgotten gem of NXT. Right. And with, like Sami, is an upper mid-carder, and Nakamura is mid to upper mid-carder. But, it felt like at this point, like maybe Sami couldn't have been a full-time main eventer, but, it still blows my mind that Nakamura has not held a world title in WWE. Mm-hmm. Like, think about that. Like, fucking Jinder Mahal beat him. I'm sure
I just plucked that out of my head. God damn it.
I'm sorry, but just think about that. Jinder Mahal is a WWE World Champion, and Shinsuke Nakamura isn't. Shinsuke is like a 2-time IC champion, but it just blows my mind. And I think if maybe he was used better, then this would have hit the pedestal, because the historical significance would have been there. But that's all on WWE. It's not on the fans. Maybe Nakamura, maybe this is what Nakamura wants, because like Matt said, he got his ass whooped with the strong style stuff for years, and he just wants to coast. Let him do that if that's the case. But
well, guess what, Nakamura? You're not going to get on the pedestal on our podcast, buddy. So that'll teach you.
The thing too is, I mean, thinking about it more, it's a great match. But ultimately, it's just a match. Like, there's very little build. There's no follow-up to it. And I think that hurts it in both with historical and build. It's a great match. Obviously, we all went 5 stars on it, but it's a match. It wasn't like a rivalry or a big feud or anything like that. And there was no real follow-up to it because Sami Zayn was leaving. So.
Right. And I think, if anything, kind of on some of the build and maybe historical ratings, I think some would consider our ratings a bit generous. So it's not like we're trying to keep it out. I think if anything, we kind of wanted it to get in, but it just didn't happen. That's what the podcast is all about. That's why we have the category set up. But it was fun watching it, and it was a cool match to rewatch, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But as for me, Matt and Scott, I told you what they have going on this podcast feed. You can find me on the besides the pods the 2 other guys talked about. I do PTB NXT with Tim Capel and Jennifer Smith. Well, very relevant to this show, this match we just did, because we're about to get into the year 2015 NXT, so we'll be at this show in a good probably 10 years or something, give or take. But anyway, check that pod out. And over on the North-South feed, I do the Ruthlessly Aggressive podcast, where me and Matt just covered Armageddon 2002, which was a lot of fun and an interesting show as well. So, but this has been another fun episode of Pedestal. I believe we will pivot to another host. So we look forward to seeing what selections are going to be on the docket next time. But as always, thanks for listening, and tune in next time to see if a match is worthy of being on the pedestal. We'll see you later.
Good God, motherfucker, now I hear you flailing. I see you flailing. That's right, they got you. I see you flailing. Away, away. No one knows it's all, and so are you, and so am I, and we'll put you together. Up together, and I say, it's been years, but still I feel that someone here will leave me here forever. Up forever, and I say, hey, 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 hey. life's a bore, and I can't quite disagree. If they judge your life by the pieces of shit that inhabit your TV. Cause they stand so proud and they talk so loud, and every other word is a lie. I found that everyone who is anyone is a waste of time. A waste of time. Well, no, it's all, and so are you, and so am I, and we'll come through together. Walk together, and I say, it's been years, but still I feel that someone here will leave me here forever. Oh, forever, and I say, hey, 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 hey. Hey, gotta keep trying, gotta keep holding on to what you got sure ain't a lot. Hey, everyone's falling down, everyone's holding on to what you got sure ain't a lot. And you act like it is, but you know that it's not. And even if it was, would you ever give it up? If I told you what you had was really nothing. Yes, it's something, nothing at all. Nothing, you won't say nothing, you won't say nothing, and that's just fine. Nothing, you won't say nothing, you won't say nothing, that's just fine. Sticks and stones that break my bones, names will never hurt me. And it's been years, but still I feel that someday they'll desert me. Oh, it's hard, I know, when it's time to stand alone and no one understands you.